Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our Eibar career mode actually, and I did say that right. It is our Eibar career mode. I know we've been focusing on the Lee Sung-woo career mode for the past, I don't know, let's say probably a little under a month or maybe a little bit over a month, depending on if you count the stall outs that we've had in the series. But um, after taking some time off of this series, I thought it was definitely time to come back to it. This is a series that I planned on doing from the start to the end of FIFA, and I still plan on trying to do that. So, going into the 2017-2018 season, last season we did end up winning our first trophy in the League Cup, or whatever you want to call it, in Spain, and we also managed to get into the top 5, meaning that we were finally able to get into the Europa League as well. So this season we'll have the Europa League, we'll have the League obviously, and the Cup to play for. We'll also have the Super Copa at the end of this episode, so make sure you do check that out and stay tuned through the entire episode. If you do want to skip all of the transfer stuff that I'm going into in the beginning here, the gameplay starts around 8 minutes, I believe, in this video. Maybe a little bit sooner, actually, since I cut a little bit out. But it's around the 6 or 7, 8 mark if it's not that long out. So as you guys are going to see, obviously, I just wanted to speed this up because there was a lot of stuff I did through the transfer window because we did have a little bit of money to play for. If you guys do remember, we had 2 center backs going into this season because the other ones we did have were either sold or out of their contract, or at the end of their loan contract, however you may have it. So we need to go out and get a new center back, which we ended up doing with this player, Denayer. We would end up going after Danny Ings, but he ended up wanting more money to actually leave England. You guys know how that goes. It's very difficult to actually get a player out of that situation. So we were going to move forward from that and end up leaving him behind. Couple other offers we were going after. We wanted to go after Lanzini to be our center attacking mid alongside Ryan Gold, because Ryan Gold, I believe, will be out of his loan at the end of January, or at the beginning of January rather. So we are going to be looking at losing him halfway through the season, so we did want to make sure we got another center attacking mid in. We also wanted to go after Mings from Bournemouth because we needed another left back to kind of give us a little bit more depth, I guess you could say. Not necessarily depth, but a little bit more youth in that position. So we wanted to bring in a new left back. Our right back is good with Douglas. In the middle, we have Ta and Ridewald alongside Denayer now. Keeper-wise, we're actually going to end up losing out on our main keeper from last season, Dragowski. I think that was how you pronounced his name. So we're actually going to end up losing out on him, which is a little disappointing. So we end up going out looking for a new keeper. We end up finding a few youth keepers that I wanted to go ahead and bring into the system that we could train over the next couple of years and just see how they go. And that's Romero and one other goalkeeper that I'm forgetting the name of. But you guys will see that, and we'll end up starting the season with them, but also looking at getting another keeper in. I was looking at Olivier Giroud, seeing, if there was any way I could get him into the squad. I know he's not the fastest guy, but he has incredible finishing in this game, in my opinion, and his headers are obviously absolutely insane. So we are going to go ahead and go through with the Lanzini deal to go ahead and help us out there. Just kind of trying to work out the wages a little bit because we were trying to figure out what players we were going to sell this season and which ones we weren't. Other players that we are going to end up seeing come and go this at the beginning of this season is we're actually going to say goodbye to Escalante. Really disappointing to see him go, but although he's a young player with decent potential, he ends up maxing 7 in this game instead of his overall potential. I think on Foothead, if you look at it, he was really supposed to hit 74, but for a lot of people, if you do training with him, he ends up getting to 77. So a little disappointing to lose out on him because he was a really good player for us throughout the years. But, we were looking at getting in some other players. We have Ruben Neves, obviously, and then we also have Danny Garcia. So there was really no reason for him to keep sitting in our team whenever he's worth a good 14, 15 million. So we go ahead and make that deal as well. You'll see who we end up sending him out to. But as you see, those are our players that we're going through training with. Just kind of trying to work on our youth a little bit the players that are going to be starting, I think, will do well enough in the team to go ahead and boost their ratings. I want to say naturally, I guess. Well, our youth players obviously aren't going to get too much gameplay time, so we have to make sure that we give them the opportunity there. Looking at a few other players that we were looking at, this is obviously just finishing up the deals that I already talked about. And honestly, I'm feeling really comfortable with this team, as you guys are going to see in the gameplay in the next couple episodes, which I think I'm going to alternate between this series and the Lee Sung-woo series, by the way. But I'm really enjoying how I've built this team, what players I've brought in. Jamie Vardy, you know, no party without Jamie Vardy. Incredible player for us in the second half of last season. Look at him to do really big things this season, even though he is only that 71 rated. He's got the pace, he's got the strength, and he's got the finishing that we need to make him into a top-tier player. As you see, the Escalante deal there, going to Crystal Palace for, I believe, 12.5 or 13.5 million. So good deal to go in there. Gudino is our keeper that we're going to be using to start off the season. As you see, the Escalante deal, as I said, did end up going through there. Looking at a few other players that we could have possibly tried to go after, I couldn't really figure out, you know, what move really needed to be made. I was looking at what players were kind of still out in the market and what players I kind of felt like I could actually go after. But with the wages I had right then, it wasn't going to happen. We had to wait for the Escalante deal to go through, which ends up going through on the game day of the first leg of the game against Real Madrid in the Supercopa. So starting off the season right, trying to go after a trophy to start everything off, going up against Real Madrid, who honestly put up some of the best games against us last season. Obviously, incredible team. No need to introduce them at all, but definitely a game that arguably I got to feel a little comfortable with, because we did incredibly well against Real Madrid last season. And for a good amount of time, we were actually above them in the league before we ended up dropping out and ended up in 6th place. So really excited to get into this game. A lot of potential to do well in this game. Obviously, looking at the team, Cristiano Ronaldo's not starting, so it gives us a little bit of a plus there. But Gareth Bale in the main squad is still playing. Sergio Ramos always giving me trouble. Here, just an incredible save by Gudino. Like I said, this is a 71 rated keeper. I actually don't know if I said that, but this is a 71 rated keeper coming up with a massive save against an incredible strike. So really happy, like I said, with how this team ends up looking like they're going to be playing. And looking at the first half, nothing big was really coming of the game as of yet. And but it was a fun game to play. Like I said, I'm excited to get back into this series because I really do enjoy playing with this Eibar squad. The team I've put together, maybe not the best players in the world just yet, but incredible players in FIFA, an incredible team just to play with in general. And I think this is a team, I don't want to compare them too much to Leicester, because obviously Leicester City did incredible things this year, going from near relegation to moving forward to win the league this season. But this is definitely a team that can surprise a lot of people, and we can end up winning the league. This is actually Jamie Vardy coming onto the pitch, and after about 5 or 10 minutes on the pitch, ends up smashing the ball. Just an absolutely beautiful goal into the top left corner across the keeper. So like I said, Jamie Vardy is going to be vital to our run this season, just as he was vital to the Leicester City run. We're going to be looking for him to do big things. Obviously, this is kind of giving him the spotlight that he deserves to play in Europa League as well. Sad he's not the rating that he probably should be, and the rating he could have been if we would have started this Eibar career mode a little bit later. But definitely a good series or season for him, I think, ahead, regardless of his rating. He's getting a little closer to the end of his career, so he's got a lot to put forward. Gareth Bale ends up just striking this, and I saw the way Gareth Bale was running, walking up to the box, and I knew he was going to take the strike. I was trying to get in front of him, but whenever you let Gareth Bale shoot from any sort of comfortable position, that's immediately going in every time, and I knew right when he hit that ball that it was going to be a goal. So disappointing to give away the goal there, but we are going to be ending out the first leg of this game at a 1-1 draw. Obviously, having the advantage so far in away goals, making it look a little bit easier for us to go into our home stadium and hopefully hold off Real Madrid in the second leg. And that is going to be the last little bit of this episode. This is a little bit of a longer episode because I did want to make sure that I got a little bit of gameplay in and not just a bunch of transfer stuff, because I knew that wouldn't be an exciting first episode. But we are going to go after this goalkeeper, Zoet. I'm for sure many of you know him from PSV. Incredible keeper, incredible FIFA keeper, 79 rated when we're going to pick him up, but has the potential to get a little bit higher. So he's just going to be a good keeper while we wait for some of our youth keepers to come up in the system and become a little bit more, I guess, successful and a little bit stronger. So we'll keep him around for about a season or two, and then end up working in some of our other keepers. But now that we have, I want to say 4 keepers, probably Zoet and Gudino are going to be splitting games between the important games and the not so important games. Here, I am going to go ahead and take Ta off for Denayer, because Denayer is just a very strong player, and Ta wasn't doing very well in that previous game. So I wanted to give him a run out in this cup game just to see if he could help us a little bit on the defensive end. But going into this game, everything to play for, obviously. If we could hold off a goal, that would have been perfect. But we were definitely still aiming for goals nonetheless, because we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to push forward in this game and try to grab the win as comfortably as possible. Here in the 25th minute, pretty good opportunity, but we end up getting a corner from it instead. Just wasn't as accurate as I would have liked to have put that into the box. But as this kind of highlight dwindles out, this game's going to get a little crazy pretty quickly here. But my passing is still a little off with this team, but it's getting more comfortable. Obviously, this is my first time back into playing with a full team instead of playing a regular player career mode. Here, Benzema scores an absolute beautiful bicycle kick, and I had nothing that I could have done to stop this. I mean, I watched this highlight I don't even know how many times just to see if really there was anything I could have done, but it was just really good positioning by all of their players and just an absolute beautiful bicycle kick. And I want to say that might be the first bike that has ever been scored on me by a computer or by a person. So I had to save the clip there, obviously not for YouTube because you guys are watching the video, but just to show some of my friends what has actually happened, because like I said, that is the first time I've ever been biked on. I've always been pretty good at keeping it away, but that was just a really well worked goal, and there was nothing I could really do in that scenario. So moving on, not too much longer, straight off a kickoff, we're just working the ball around, trying to find any way we can get through. Getting the ball out to Miyaichi on the edge, not really seeing much room to take the corner though, so we take it a little bit more inward, looking for another pass, getting that out to Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves running down the flank, putting in a beautiful cross, and our new signing Lanzini is actually there to knock that header in right in front of the keeper. So really lucky actually to get that goal, because the keeper was lurking and he was really close, and obviously the taller player in this scenario. Definitely did not think that I was going to score from that position at all, but managed to grab the goal nonetheless, and went ahead and tied it back up at 1-1. So at this point, if the game somehow ended this way, it was going to end, or not end, it was going to go into extra time at a 2-2 on aggregate, because both of us were obviously equal on away goals as well. But knowing playing against Real Madrid the way that our games have gone, there was no way that it was going to end like this. This team plays really well, and the counter-attacking between our team and Real Madrid is just absolutely incredible, and there was no way it was ever going to end on 2 goals each. So going into the second half, obviously a lot to play for again. They had 5 shots, 5 on target, 50% possession. We had 3 shots, 2 on target, 50% possession as well. So definitely an even game, and it made me really confident going into the season. Regardless if we won or lost to this cup, I knew going into the season we were definitely going to be a top 5, top 6 team. So very excited to get this season going. But here, as you see, we're doing a little bit of a non-touch dribbling going into the box, as we love to do from the right-hand side with Miyaichi. Really missed playing with him, an incredible player. Like I've said all series long, if you guys are playing with a small team and you're looking for a right wing with a ton of pace but can still control the ball and finish really well, this is the guy for you. Miyaichi is obviously a name that a lot of people forgot ever since he left Arsenal, but very, very good player nonetheless, and really happy that he's in our squad. Here in the 82nd minute, Real Madrid actually get another opportunity here, but ended up squandering it, and it went straight to the keeper. And then we had another counter attack opportunity here. And with both Jamie Vardy and Iheanacho in the game at this point, I knew I had the pace and I knew I had the ability to grab another goal. Just a lovely cross from Jamie Vardy right in front of the keeper. And Iheanacho was just able to dive in and slide into that ball and give us another goal, giving us even more of a lead, sitting at 3-1 against Real Madrid going into the end of a cup final. I knew we had to win this game. This was the game for us to win, but I knew we could get more goals. If you guys remember the last couple seasons we've played with this team, anytime we play Real Madrid, if we get the lead, they immediately go into the strongest attacking mode they can, and it opens up so many opportunities for us to get more goals, and you guys are going to see this. Remember, the first goal of this sequence actually ended up coming in the 82nd minute if you don't count the previous goal to that. So here in the 87th minute, 5 minutes later, the ball gets up to Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy runs up to the keeper. Keeper comes out, so I decided to pass it off to Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia throws it into the back of the net to give us a 4-1 lead and a 5-2 lead on aggregate over Real Madrid. So at this point, obviously 3 minutes left. We have this game in the bag, and I am pumped. First trophy of the season, regardless of how you feel about the Supercopa and the Community Shield or whatever tournament it is for that league. First trophy of the season just puts you in a good spot. It shows that your team managed to make it through the off season and still stay strong and still be a quality team going into the next season. So a lot to play for. Obviously, like I said, the Europa League coming up. I think that we have a pretty good chance in it, to be honest. We don't have a bad team at all. This is a team that arguably is only ending up behind Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, teams that have 90 rated players, high 80 rated players. So to play like this against Real Madrid puts me in really high spirits going into the Europa League. So hopefully we can put out a good showing for at least this season, if not all seasons to come, and hopefully we can do a little bit better in the league and maybe even get into the Champions League this season. This is all going to be a very fun season nonetheless, as you see Jamie Vardy and crew going up to get their first trophy of the season. And that is where this episode's going to come to a close. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, we'll have Lee Sung-woo coming up tomorrow, and then the next day we should be right back into Eibar. So if you guys did enjoy, like I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, I'll see you guys later.